What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with another video. As I talked about in another video, I can't remember if I talked about it yet or not. Disney Plus had kind of a, investor summit type of thing where it's like a Disney Day where they talk about all the upcoming content that's going to be coming to Disney Plus next year and the year after that. And they didn't talk too much about Star Wars. They talked a lot about Marvel and things like that. But one of the areas where they did hit was the new Obi-Wan Kenobi series starring Ewan McGregor, and Hayden Christensen's come back for it as well. And they didn't show like any big kind of reveals, but they did show some concept art. And the concept art, I think, hints at what's going to be coming in the Obi-Wan series to a certain extent. And based on those concept artist drawings and things like that, I've got some suggested comics that you might want to pick up. And a lot of them are like rock bottom prices right now that you can pick up raw for like $10 or less for some of them, that I think have a lot of potential based on what is going to be upcoming on the show. So I found this great article. It's on ScreenRant.com. Screen Rant's pretty good about kind of covering, what's going to be upcoming and giving you some hints as to what they saw in terms of content. And this article, which I'll put in the description to this video, it says 6 exciting things from the Disney Plus Obi-Wan behind the scenes reel. And so like there's a really interesting behind the scenes reel that maybe hints at what's coming. And the first one talks about Darth Vader meditating in Fortress Vader. As we all know, as we saw in Rogue One, the movie, Vader's got his own fortress on Mustafar, and it's got like lava all around it. And director Krennic in that movie came and visited him and was choked out for a little while, and Vader told him to not choke on his ambitions. So I'm hoping that this Obi-Wan series will kind of dive into a little bit more about Darth Vader's fortress and kind of how that came to be, and maybe a little bit more interesting information about that. It might talk about how Darth Vader is trying to hunt down the remaining Jedi, Obi-Wan included. And one of the good, one key issue in terms of Star Wars books, you can always check Key Collector Comics, but I remember that there was a comic series called Tales from Vader's Castle. And the key book to remember for this one is Star Wars Tales from Vader's Castle #1. It's not expensive at all. The high price on it is still cover price, $4. But that is the origin of Darth Vader's castle. So I think that this has a lot of potential to see some upward tick in value. And it's a great cover because it's got it looks like it's got, I think, Aris Syndulla and Kanan Jarrus on the cover. It's a really dark cover. And so I think that the number of CGC 9.8s or 9.6s is going to be pretty low, because it is, let's call that 3 years old now. And my guess is that there's probably not a big print run, because it's kind of a smaller side book from Star Wars Adventures. But I think this one's worth picking up if you can find it, either raw or CGC graded. I doubt there's many CGC graded copies, but my gut says if you can pick this up for cover price, I would get a bunch of them, because I have a feeling that this book is going to be worth some money if the series kind of explores more Darth Vader's castle and how that Mustafar fortress came to be. So that's the first big one. The next one is clearly the most important from my perspective, and this is a character and a group that I've been talking about in past videos and recommending that you all pick up, and that's the Inquisitorius. So you got the Grand Inquisitor, and you got the Inquisitorius, like the 7th sister and the 8th brother and people like that. They basically were charged with hunting down the remaining Jedi after Order 66 in the Clone Wars. And there was a very prominent photo or concept art that shows a 7th sister, the 7th sister, or some sort of member of the Inquisitorius kind of marching out of a ship. And they've already made Black Series figures for the Inquisitorius, and I think it's very likely that we're going to see more of that. We had the Jedi Fallen Order video game, so it seems like a no-brainer to have the Inquisitorius as part of this show, since Obi-Wan is on the run for the most part from the Empire as they hunt down the rest of the Jedi. And so I wanted to talk more about the Inquisitorius now. There are a number of different comics that can be picked up. Star Wars Darth Vader number 19 is and this one here. That's the first cameo appearance of the second sister, Trilla Suduri, and that is who I think this is in the photo. I think that's who that is. Again, it's all speculation, but that makes sense. The next one is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order Dark Temple number 1. That's a tie-in to the video game. That's the first full appearance of the second sister, the main villain from the video game. So that one is, it's got a high price, raw price of $30. I have not seen any CGC graded copies for sale, but my guess is we're going to see some. There was a variant cover for that as well. That one, I have seen a few copies of that in CGC grade, and they're pretty expensive. So just keep an eye out. You can see the high price. That's for a raw copy is $75. You're probably talking $300 for that one in a CGC 9.8 because it is a really dark cover. But I think you can get that regular cover, is my guess, for a reasonable price, because I don't think it would be that tough to find. But even that one's $30 right now. So the other one is this one, Dark Temple number 5, the 1:10 ratio variant. That actually has the cover appearance of Trilla Suduri, the second sister of the Inquisitorius, in her kind of form. So that's kind of her first comic book cover appearance. So those are 3 really good options. Well, 4 if you include the variant cover of Jedi Fallen Temple number 1. But keep a lookout for all of those. Really, the only ones that I found that have actually sold recently are these. We had Star Wars Darth Vader number 19 that sold for $100 back in October 22nd. And then you can see it's already jumped to $175 on November 13th. So people are clearly speculating that the second sister is going to play a pretty major role. And I think that this price of $175 is probably about, going rate right now. But my guess is we see more and more of these get graded now that we saw some concept art that shows the second sister in some of that concept art. So keep in mind on that one. Let's also talk more about some of the other Inquisitorius. We had, obviously I've talked about the Grand Inquisitor many times. He's obviously appeared in cartoon format on the Star Wars Rebels TV show cartoon. And this book was recommended to me by Team CGC 9.8 a long time ago. He talked about this on his channel a long time ago. And I just loved the cover. I always loved the Grand Inquisitor anyway from watching the show. So I took his advice and I bought it a while ago, and I got it for cheap. I got it for like $140 or something like that. And since then, it's gone up, which we'll talk about more in a second. The other one I did pick up is Canon number 12. I've shown that on my channel before. I picked that one up in a 9.8 grade for $100 at an auction. And that's the first cameo appearance of the Grand Inquisitor. The first full appearance is Darth Vader number 6, which was the recommendation I got from Team CGC. So make sure to check out that channel, Team CGC 9.8. In terms of prices now, though, we can see that Kanan, the Last Padawan 12, there hasn't been a lot of recent sales yet. The last sale was October 27th, excuse me. That was a $209 best offer accepted. And then October 11th, $209 best offer accepted. So it seems like that $180 or $190 to $200 is about the going rate now for Kanan number 12, which again is the first cameo appearance of the Grand Inquisitor. In terms of the first full appearance of the Grand Inquisitor, Darth Vader number 6. Again, I just talked about this recently in a market update, but it seems like $275 to $317 is the kind of new rate now for the Grand Inquisitor. And I want to stress that they have not shown anything that indicates the Grand Inquisitor is going to be in the Obi-Wan series. And he spoiler alert, he dies in the first season, I believe, of the Rebels cartoon. So I don't know if it really matters, or if they're going to kind of retcon the fact that he's still alive, or if they're not even going to show the Grand Inquisitor and only focus on the second sister and the Inquisitorius as a whole and keep it more generic, or if they'll have the Grand Inquisitor kind of overseeing the purging of the Jedi. Who knows? But I think that this one is a little bit more speculative, and I honestly, it's so expensive now too. It's like it's already had the massive run up, whereas the seventh sister, there's not a lot of graded copies, and you can pick up a lot of those books for a lot cheaper. So just keep all that in mind, that this is all very speculative, and we don't know what's going to happen with the Inquisitorius. But I wanted to at least show you, the guys, that there are some options out there to take advantage of that. The other books that I wanted to talk about in terms of the Inquisitorius as a whole, you've got Mace Windu #1. That's the first appearance of Proset Dibs, which later becomes the 10th brother, another Inquisitorius. You also have Darth Vader #7, which is the first cover appearance of the 5th brother, 7th sister, and 8th brother. This is a really good book to get, I think, because the cover, it's selling right now for about $8 raw. The other one I really want to pick up is Dr. Aphra #15, which is a very reasonable $3. It's still selling at cover price or less. It's an awesome cover, and there's like 6 different first appearances in that book, including a number of characters related to the Inquisitorius. Darth Vader #13 is the first appearance of the 10th brother, a member of the Inquisitorius. That one's selling for $8 right now, raw. We've already talked about Darth Vader #19, which is the first cameo of the 2nd sister. That one's jumping up. And then we have the Jedi Fallen Order books that we talked about. So in terms of, pickups that might be worth considering, I would take a look at Darth Vader #13, which is the first appearance of the 10th brother. That's still $8 right now. That's a high number too. The high for Dr. Aphra #15 is $3. Darth Vader #7, which I think is a great pickup. I mean, look at that cover. It's just an awesome pickup that shows the Inquisitorius and is the first cover appearance. That one's $8 right now as a high price. So there's a number of different less expensive options if you don't want to get the first appearance or the first cameo appearance of the Grand Inquisitor. But it's just some options to keep in mind. Anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about, really. But the article goes into some other details that Obi-Wan and Darth Vader might fight again on Mustafar. So I do think that the chances of seeing Darth Vader's castle are pretty high, and this origin of Darth Vader's castle, an origin of a location, does that really, is that really going to go up in value? I don't know, but I think it's probably worth considering if you can get it first. The high price on it's $4, right? So it's not like it's an expensive risk that you're taking by buying that book, and it's an awesome cover. I mean, that cover is really incredible. It's got Kanan Jarrus, Era Syndulla, and I think that's, I don't know, I think that's some kind of security droid for Mustafar is my guess. That's kind of looks like it's going. I don't think that's Chopper. I think that's. I guess it could be Chopper. I'm not sure, but it's either Chopper or it's like a security droid at Mustafar, alerting Vader. Who knows? Who knows what's going on in that cover? I've never read the book, but it's an epic cover. But it is really dark. It's really dark, so it's going to be really tough to find a high grade example of that book raw. So anyway, I hope you found this information interesting and useful. Just some other kind of speculative Star Wars comic pick ideas as it relates to this concept art that was released by Disney for the new Obi-Wan Kenobi Disney Plus series. Thanks again for watching, and I'll be back soon.